Hey everyone, I am coming to you a little bit later than usual because I recorded you a video earlier and it's gone. I just went to upload it. It's completely gone. So it was my son's 4th birthday party, hence the dinosaurs, and my family said, it's fine, just go re-record the video. Here I am. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about, what my first video said, had to do with source evaluations, because this morning I got into our space, started looking through what you guys have completed there, and felt like I was repeating myself a little bit in terms of what kinds of comments I would leave, and that's pretty typical. This is a 4-week project where you guys chip away at it, and it's a new kind of project for most of us, and so I don't grade it until the end. Instead, what I do is I let you guys slowly build it up, add to it, revise it, and tweak it. So that said, I know it's a lot and it doesn't come out exactly the way that it should be right at first. So let's talk through some things that you can do to start tweaking and improving your source evaluations now. So the top part of your first entry, or any entry, just asks you, where you got the source from. Moving down, when I ask you about the relevant ideas, I'm not going to read the source, so I just want to know what exactly inside of the source is interesting to you. And I'm trying to get you to express the parts of the argument that you're serving. So are you looking into history of the issue? Are you looking into environmental impact? Are you looking into mental health problems, or cost effectiveness, or creative solutions, something like that? Now, if you slide over a little bit to the right, I ask you, which subtitle did you put this under? If you think back to the working copy project, I asked you guys to look at what you had written for your short article, start to kind of pluck out and identify what you would put as headings inside of your article. I just want to know, when you used this article, just copy and paste the subtitles for where you're either planning to put the information or where you did plan to put the information. This gives me a better sense of how to facilitate and support you over time in terms of if you run out of things to say or you're struggling to find sources. It's just an indicator about what your strategy is and where everything is ending up. So that second part of the chart says describe and defend. Now, typically people will do the describe, but I have to coach and guide a little bit for what I'm looking for in terms of defend. And that goes back to, you probably haven't been asked to do a source evaluation like what the kind you would encounter in English 102. So remember that on the left-hand side, those blue neon words are actually links to my course website. And my course website, we haven't really talked about this much, but that is your textbook. You didn't buy a textbook for the class, so anytime I give you a resource like that, that is your textbook, and it's meant to both provide further reflection, further background on how to do the assignment, and then, I don't know why I said the word both except for I'm tired, but help you get in and understand what am I supposed to put in for detail? Well, if you click on source evaluation in the blue, you will see that detail is me asking, this source you're looking at, how long is it? Is it 2 pages? Is it 20 pages? If you don't know and it's a website, just kind of scroll and make a guess. Does it seem like it's 5 pages? Now, in terms of depth, is it one person recounting their story, their anecdote, or is it a journalist who interviewed 5 people and looked at a study and went and read a book and went back into history? You can kind of come up with your own way of describing it, but how deep, how wide, how long, how rich is the well that you're drawing from? Sometimes what happens in this exchangers or 102 experience is that a writer gets stuck and they're at say 8 sources. And what I find is that all the sources they have are funneling into the same subtitles, and all the sources that they have are actually a pretty shallow well. It's okay to have a shallow source if it has other great strengths, but usually typically people run out of things to say because they're not reading sources with enough depth or width in order to really pull and mine from. You want to be in that place where you have like more than you can even really work with, and then you're picking and choosing, and if you wanted to go back and get more, you could. I'm still talking, somewhat about describe, but what do I mean by defend? If you say the author is Amber Lemire, well, who's Amber Lemire? Amber Lemire is a faculty member. If your article is about teaching or education, you might say, Amber Lemire has been teaching for over a decade. Amber Lemire has a degree in blankety blankety blank. And what you're conveying when you provide that research about your research is, why should I trust this source for information? Sometimes you're going to find your credibility in the author. Sometimes you're going to find your credibility in the publication. So for instance, you might run across a name, Amber Lemire. Who is Amber Lemire? Nobody knows Amber Lemire. But if I wrote an article that was published in National Geographic, now that has some clout to it. And this is where we're expanding your skills a little bit from previous experiences, or maybe you already were guided through this. But the charts lead you down to MLA citations and finalize upon signal phrases. Now, in English 101, most of us faculty members at LCC guide students to write a signal phrase before you bring in information from a source, and we typically default to give us the author name and the title of the article. And that's a really great way to begin to just practice what it even feels like to be writing in your own voice, and then say, and here's a source and some info from that, and then back to your own voice, and this is me typing. And it's just a really great way to just get those juices flowing, get that academic writing happening. But in English 102, what we're trying to encourage you to do is bring forth some of this hard work that you've done in research and make it persuasive in the writing itself. So again, who is Amber Lemire? I don't know. National Geographic? Now I know that. So once you've filled out all the information, you've sort of defended your source. You're like, it's old, but it's essential because this information hasn't changed. Or, I don't know who this guy is, but it was in this publication that's been around for 50 years and is peer-reviewed, or whatever it is. You defend it. Then you say, what is the most credible thing about this source, and how do I get a signal phrase that conveys that? An example would be something like, in a 2023 article published by National Geographic, renowned photojournalist so-and-so explained how. Now, if you get a signal phrase like that, and I'm not asking you to master them at all, by the way. None of these skills that we're practicing right now are about mastering. They're really it's a different way of writing and a different way of approaching your work. So it's all about, in this space, attempting, practicing, exercising, just giving it a shot. So if you give this a shot, the aim is that when you do a signal phrase like that, it's like laying down glue. So when the information comes in, it's more likely to stick. So often in our information era, it's just fact, stat, claim, opinion, data, da-da-da. And we might be like, whoa, that's crazy information. We might be prone to believe it. But then we walk away and we're like, well, where did that come from? And so a lot of people are dropping signal phrases in our information era. They're not even including them at all. What we're learning and practicing and trying out and giving a shot here is using signal phrases that lay down like glue. So when the information comes, it will stick. It will be believable. It will have rapport, right in there with delivering the information. And I'm going to jump a tiny bit back up on that worksheet because I asked for your MLA citation in parentheses. The citation is what you're going to put in the works cited entry. If you're not using it, I really encourage you to go to mybib.com. You can make your own works cited entries if you click on my neon blue underline. But the fact is, as of last year or so, mybib.com became really accurate as a citation creator. And before Sun Citation, all these other ones, they were pretty detectable. I don't care that students used them, but they weren't accurate. So I'd prefer if you use an accurate AI tool. And the good news is that mybib.com, as far as I've seen it, has been very accurate for MLA 9. I also want you guys to know that if APA is a better citation style for you, if you know that based on career pathway, anything like that, just let me know. I can adjust to APA. But use that resource, get your citation, prep it, put it on the page. This worksheet style source evals is a chance for me to spot check and give you guys advice on that so that we can be looking at everything and you can be applying any corrections to the article itself for both your citations and your parentheses. What do you put in parentheses? If you click on the blue underline hyperlink, it'll show you, and I would, just because the left-hand side of that source is really useful throughout this process. But the idea is whatever is the first thing listed in your works cited entry, usually a last name, but sometimes an article title, is the first is what goes inside the parentheses. And that creates a matching. So if I'm reading and I see something and I'm like, I want to follow up on that, then I look at the parentheses and I like with my little finger, and then I go down to the works cited and I do a skim and I'm like, there it is, Lemire, and then I read about the source. And so it's about matching. That's the logic for why it's the first thing listed in the citation. Again, why am I making you put this into the worksheet? Because it's a place for you to just be like, this is my citation, this is what goes inside, and I say, yes. And then you say, okay, I'm going to put it in my article anytime that I reference this source. If this at all is not lining up, I want to remind you guys, these next 4 weeks are about chipping away, practicing, getting our ducks in a row, taking off a little bit at a time. This is a big project, and I really love that I get to spend the 4 weeks just giving comments, teaching, helping, answering questions. We're not assessing anything for a little bit now. So make some adjustments in the calendar if you need to. If I know that I have 3 more sources due on Sunday night, but if you just do 2 more or you just do 1 more because that's what you're able to do right now, I'm okay with that. The more you do, the more input I can give, the less that you're cramming leading up. But I'm not over here with my clipboard ready to get ya. I just want to see you guys take the time to pause, reflect, do good work, experiment with your voice, your writing, your resources, your ideas, all that good stuff. Okay, have an amazing weekend. I hope that you just decide to carve out some time, even if it's 30 minutes, for yourself, to give yourself a brain break, give yourself a sunshine break, put on a dinosaur outfit and go. My camera's done with me. Go celebrate something. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can do with this over the weekend or into next week. Reach out if you need me for anything. Have a good one.